Hey everybody, I did have some interest in the little torch that I bought, and I wanted to go ahead and take a couple minutes and show you what it is exactly that I bought. It's a import version of the Smith's little torch. As you can see though, it's clearly labeled with the Young Sun torch brand, but the packaging, apparently it's identical to the little torch. It sure looks like it. But the seller makes no bones about it. They do not claim that it's a little torch at all. And you see, this is a good example. I've never had a cutting torch or oxyacetylene torch set up like this exactly. I've used them before, but I've never owned one. And having a handy set like that would be nice, but my shop is pretty cramped and I really didn't want anything larger. So having the opportunity to buy this little torch and use conventional bottles that you can buy at Lowe's and Ace Hardware, that was very attractive to me. So let me show you a little bit about what I got, who I got it from, that kind of thing. And then what I'd like to do is demonstrate the tips. Because the one I've been using, if you watched my last couple of projects, that's the number 5 tip. And I also, in the kit, it came with a variety of smaller tips. That's the largest conventional one. But the kit that I bought also had all 4 of the other tips, and it had this. Also had this larger tip. I forget what they actually call it. I call it the weed burner tip, but that's not the name for it. But the only one I've tried so far is the large number 5. So what I'll do, I'm going to set the camera in the stand here. I've got the bottles all set up, and I'm going to interchange all the different tips and do a brief demonstration of all of them. Also, I wanted to cover, as I mentioned, the bottles. You can buy them at Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware. The blue propane bottles, I'm able to buy those at my local Walmart, and they're only about $5 or $6. The red oxygen bottles, I think I got this at Lowe's, either Lowe's or Ace Hardware, and they're somewhere between $12 and $15 a piece where I live. The kit came with regulators, and they screw in, it's for the propane, it's a conventional right hand thread to screw the bottle into the regulator. For the oxygen bottle, it's a left hand thread, and you need to be careful of that, and once you get your connections made, check for leaks. You can also see that I got, with the kit that I got these flash arrestors, which is a nice safety feature, and that's it's something I really wanted to have because I do believe in safety first. And the kit I bought from, let me go into this now. I bought it from eBay, an eBay seller called Blackberry Hills, January of 2024. The kit, the full kit with all these tips, the regulators and the regulators and the flash arrestors here, and all those tips and the torch was $175. And with shipping was free. With tax, I think the total was about $188. And it came with a little instruction manual. So again, I'm very pleased. You can buy a genuine Smith little torch with the hoses for about the same price. But by the time you add the flash arrestors and the regulators, you're looking at a couple $100 more. And that was the simple math for me. It's like basically double the price to get all this stuff from the genuine Smith, where I could spend $175 and get everything included. Because I really just need this for not for everyday use. It's just for silver soldering, brazing, that kind of thing. So let me, no further ado, I'll replace the number 5 tip. I guess I'll work my way down, and I'll demonstrate for you what each of the tips looks like, what the flame pattern looks like. Okay, check this out. Maybe you can tell now why I call it the weed burner flame, let's introduce the oxygen here. Somebody commented that this would be a really good size to have for that superheater I was working on. It would have made very quick work of that. Look at that thing. I'll hold it against my black smock here. That is something else. So that will undoubtedly do a job. Huh. Cranking up those two there. Yes, sir. Alright, I'm going to cut the oxygen off. We'll cut that bit off, that tip. And I'll replace it. Let me just show you how, since I've got the machine going. Replacing the tips is very simple. You don't really need a wrench, but I just like to do it to not mess things up. You take it off. It's just a little threaded thing. It's a lot like some of the fittings that we're making on the locomotive. Okay, we'll go from the large. I'll put on, oh, this is the number 1. I already had it ready. Put the number 1 tip on. Guess I'll just leave the camera rolling here. You can put the tips in any orientation that you want. I've just kind of generally preferred to have them facing away from the controls. Just makes sense to me to do it that way. Okay, that's snug. Get my fire stick ready. I watched several videos on YouTube about lighting them, and they all recommend using a candle or a live flame. So that's what I've been doing. Okay, so this is the number 1 tip. This is the smallest tip that it comes in the kit, and that's just on propane there. So I'm going to introduce some oxygen. See if I can do it slowly without blowing out. There we go. Nice. You can see that's just a tiny little flame. I mean, less than the distance. My thumb is clearly very behind it, or now it's underneath, but definitely the less than an inch, and the oxygen part of the flame is much smaller than that, probably 3/8 of an inch. So very nice. This is the number 1. The genuine Smith torch, they say they have little sapphires in the first 3 tips. I asked the lady that sells these if they had them. She said no, but the box says that they do have them. So I don't know, but that's a nice little flame. Let's just put it that way. Alright, cut the oxygen off. Now you can see the propane flame. Cut the propane off, let that cool. Another thing I did, I noticed after using this a couple times, I noticed the number of turns that I needed for the bottles, like what works best. Because there's a video out there, it looks like a school setting, and they call for opening the regulators up all the way, like wide open. And for me, if I did that, especially with the propane one, it was just too much pressure. So I found with the propane, for me, on my regulators, yours may be different, but like 2.5, just under 3 turns works out best. And then the same thing for the oxygen. I think it'll go another full turn, but those seem to work out well. Okay, this is the number 2 size bit. I want to call them bit, the number 2 size tip. There we go. I don't see much difference between this than the number 1. Yeah, I do. Now that I see it, now that I add the oxygen, I do. It's just slightly longer, the oxygen flame. Instead of being 3/8 of an inch or so, it's more like a 1/2 inch. But all these things are very nice, very delicate pinpoint. And I think the beauty of that is that your supply of oxygen lasts a lot longer. Because a lot of people complain, oops, darn, went the wrong way. A lot of people complain that the oxygen bottles don't last that long, but I've been able to braze several things together with that one tank so far, so I've got no complaints. And all these tips, they do have, I don't know if this will pick up on the camera or not, but they have little numbers etched into the nut there. This is the number 3. So on a genuine Smith anyway, the number 3, they say this is the smallest one I think they recommend for propane. And this should be the largest one that has a sapphire in if it were a genuine Smith. And I don't know if mine does or not, but okay. There's the propane flame. Add some oxygen. Well, that was weird. I wonder if I'm running out of oxygen. See, that one seems like it's even smaller. Tinier. Maybe these import tips are not that good. Who knows? I mean, they work fine for mine. They may not be as consistent or uniform. Oh, there we go. Flame out. I'm going to cut the camera off here for a second. Alright, here's the number 4 tip. That's certainly a large flame. I finally remembered what the genuine name, they call these Rosebud tips, not weed burner. Silly me, that's the official nickname is a Rosebud tip. So let's introduce, this is the number 4. Introduce a little oxygen, see if we have any left. Yeah, looks like we do. I guess it'll be pretty obvious when the oxygen runs out. I won't be able to introduce the flame. Ooh, I like that flame. So I think the 4 would be very useful for model engineering, silver soldering, and brazing. Definitely. That's a good looking flame right there. Sound like an A-bomb, don't I? Okay, let's cut the oxygen off. Cut the propane off. Alright, there you have it, folks. There's the 1 through 5 of the little torch, the import of the little torch, plus the Rosebud. All of this was purchased. They did not give it to me. I bought it all. Bought the kit off of eBay. $175, free shipping, plus tax. It came out to about $188 for me. And as I said, the only other things I needed to purchase were the bottles. So these are about $5 or $6 at Walmart, and these are, say, 10 or 12 at Lowe's and Ace Hardware. A lot of times you can get sales there at Lowe's and Ace. In the U.S., Lowe's stores give a 10% military discount. So if you have that, you can prove your military service. They'll do it, and it did apply when I bought this. I was able to get a discount. I bought several of them because, like I said, I watched a lot of videos, and everybody claimed, oh, the weakness of these torches is that the oxygen will run out faster than you think. Well, it hasn't for me, and I've been able to braze, silver solder a bunch of small things together, so I've been very pleased with it. And I just think it's a practical solution, because if you've watched my channel long enough, you've seen that my shop really is pretty crowded. I kind of need to go through and get rid of some junk, but so the last thing I wanted to do is get any large gas bottles in here, and so I'm really pleased with having the small and very portable, obviously, setup. And if I need a bigger flame, I've got the conventional propane that everybody's got, your handy homeowner propane tip, and I do have the large propane tip that I can hook up to my barbecue tank. I've demonstrated that on the channel before. I'm going to put the number 4 tip. I've got some silver soldering to do for the weekend to work on the Titch locomotive project, so I was going to try that 4, leave that on there for the next go around. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's been helpful to you. If the seller ever sees this, the Blackberry Farms, what was it called? Blackberry Hills. If they ever see this, then I'll tell them thank you the lady's name was Natalie that dealt with me on the purchase, and she was very nice. You know, good communication and all that stuff. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.